I'm Anna Mitchell, joined by Aram Hamparian. He is executive director of the Armenian National Committee of America, and he's next up in the In Defense of Christians webinar series. This is taking place at noon. Go to indefenseofchristians.org to find it. Aram, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so very much.
So what will you be discussing in your remarks for IDC?
Well, we'll be talking about our partnership with In Defense of Christians. It's been a very long-standing and productive, very inspiring coalition that we built with In Defense of Christians, with the entire team. Armenians are obviously centered in the Armenian homeland, but spread across the Middle East and face many of the same challenges that other Christians face. So at the very top of the list will be Turkey, and Turkey's treatment not just of the Christians within the borders of present-day Turkey, but Turkey's aggression, along with Azerbaijan, its ally, against Armenia itself. And they've helped invade and attack and ethnically cleanse Armenians as recently as 2020.
When did that happen? Tell us more.
So in September of 2020, all the way through November, Azerbaijan attacked Nagorno-Karabakh, which we call Artsakh. It's an ancient Christian Armenian homeland. The Armenians have lived there for thousands of years. I visited in 2019. Actually, in early 2020, a monastery that was founded by a student of the Apostle Thaddeus, Dadi. I went to the monastery that he helped found. And this ancient Armenian land was attacked, very advanced weaponry with NATO arms, essentially, and ethnically cleansed. About 70% of the territory was taken by Azerbaijan. Over 100,000 people were displaced. And there's really not been the type of response from our government that we'd like to see, that we think really is merited.
Yeah, and I apologize. I had
Sure.
immediately, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, yes, of course, the Artsakh controversy. We had you and others on from In Defense of Christians when this was happening. The secular media kind of had a different take on this, and it seemed like secular governments had sort of a different take on who they wanted to support in this.
Sure.
Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I think if we make decisions as a nation based on who exports the most oil, or who serves some narrow or very short-term geopolitical purpose, sometimes we end up on the wrong side of really, really important moral questions, which is, do indigenous populations have the right to exist? Do Christians have the right to practice their faith, to worship in their churches, sometimes churches that are hundreds, even more than 1,000 years old, like you said, in a very kind of narrow secular, from a very narrow secular perspective. Azerbaijan produces more oil. Azerbaijan is more useful in the short term on some geopolitical level. So the United States ends up on the wrong side, on the wrong side of issues like this, and it's really tragic. I mean, even to this day, we're still sending military weapons and military assistance to Azerbaijan, which is the aggressor. People say, what should the United States do? I would say, let's start by what we shouldn't do, which is don't give military assistance to aggressive states, especially aggressive states that have wiped out indigenous Christian populations.
Yeah. What is your assessment of the U.S. relationship with Turkey right now?
I think first of all, let me say this. Turkey is the author of its own destiny in this regard. They have turned their back on NATO, turned their back on the United States, turned their back on our shared values, our shared interests. Yet, despite that, every new administration comes in trying to reset the relationship, not really believing what Turkey itself says. Turkey has said that they're no longer tethered to NATO. They no longer need to, in their mind, play second fiddle to Western interests. They're going to do their own thing at our expense in ways that are offensive to our values. But every new administration comes in and says, well, they don't really mean it. Let's give them a second chance, which means Turkey gets like a 1-year, 2-year honeymoon every election cycle, and they just, perpetuate this. They're playing the U.S., and the U.S. I think is still, our State Department, our Defense Department are still hopeful, but without really any basis in fact.
How would you like to see an update to U.S. foreign policy as it pertains to Turkey, particularly when it comes to religious freedom? Because I know that the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom has put Turkey on one of their watch lists, which the U.S. State Department has never taken up as their own, has never taken up that recommendation for a national policy.
Yeah, our policy has been to give Turkey a free pass, never to judge Turkey on its merits. Turkey has a transactional relationship with the United States. The U.S., our government still has an alliance relationship with Turkey. Turkey, gone its own way. They don't feel the need to respect our values, our interests, yet we're deferential to their interests. So we should simply treat Turkey on the merits. If they oppress Christians, then they should be called out for oppressing Christians. This idea of getting a free pass, if it ever made sense, it no longer makes sense today. Turkey does not deserve a free pass. Just judge Turkey. Here's a good way to deal with Turkey. Look at what Turkey does without attaching the name Turkey to it, and we should ask ourselves, how would we treat a country that does A, B, C, D, and E, including the horrific repression of Christians within their own borders, right? Any other country that did that, we would hammer, we would sharply criticize, but yet Turkey, based on an alliance that existed decades ago, still gets a free pass.
We've been talking to Aram Hamparian, the executive director of the Armenian National Committee of America, and you can watch his webinar on this at indefenseofchristians.org. It will be available at noon. Aram, thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you so much for your show. It really is a blessing. Thank you so much.